Hello there, War Thunder community. This is Mephisto9466, and I wanted to give you all a tutorial of the mouse joystick. This will encompass the basics of mouse joystick along with some tips and tricks. Before we start, this tutorial is made for full real controls. It will take place under that control setting. The reason I wanted to make this video is for two reasons. One, I had a 10-year-old video on this channel for this exact topic, and it needed an update. Number two, I understand that one of the major reasons that AirSim is unpopular is due to the barrier to entry that comes with learning how to fly. People think they need a throttle and a stick to do it, but you don't. You can fly in sim with the tools you have right now. And this is the one thing I'll give Gaijin lots of praise for, is their implementation of mouse joystick. Simply put, mouse joystick turns your mouse into a flight stick. To the game, your mouse acts like the flight stick. This option will enable you to fly in sim extremely easily. If I get 20 likes on this video, I'll make another beginner's tutorial on how to take off and land in sim. And if I get 50 likes, I'll make a beginner tutorial on how to bomb in sim using multiple methods. There are a number of keybinds that you'll need. I'll post them on the screen now for you to read while you follow along. The first one you need is toggle engine. This is required because in sim, your engine does not turn on automatically. You must turn it on when you spawn. I'd suggest putting this far away from your flight controls because you don't want to accidentally turn off your engine when you are flying. The next one you need is throttle. I expect you to have this bound, and I expect you to know what this does. The next setting you need is yaw axis. Now, you may not already have this bound if you play mainly realistic and arcade. Your yaw, or rudder as some people like to call it, is required in order to be able to control the plane while you are taking off. And it also helps with adjusting your aim in both ground pounding and dogfighting. The next one that you need is the button to toggle your gear. This is required because if you do not pull your gear up, they will just simply break off. This is also very important in landing because in sim, you get rewarded in both silver lions and research points by properly landing. Side note, no, you cannot farm like RP and SL by taking off and landing repeatedly. They have a detection method for that, and it will not give you rewards if you just take off and land multiple times over and over and over again. The next thing that you need are going to be your brakes. This should be pretty self-explanatory. These are your brakes. They help you stop when you land. Just a quick call out though with the brakes. You want the left brake and the right brake to be the same button, and you also want to bind two separate buttons for them, so that way if you need to, you can kind of control which direction your plane goes while you're braking. So like, for example, if you got your rudder shot off, you can't really control where your plane turns when you're landing. So that will help you. The next one you need are going to be your flaps. Now, this one isn't required per se, but it is extremely recommended. For a lot of prop planes and jets, they have a setting for combat flaps, which this lets you pull harder in a turn without flopping out of the sky. These also help you with taking off and landing, because different planes also have a takeoff setting for their flaps and a landing setting for their flaps. Another call out for the flaps specifically, you don't want to have all three of these options here bound. You can use toggle flaps and not have flaps down or flaps up. It is entirely up to you. I personally prefer having more control over my flaps, so I have flaps up and flaps down bound instead of toggle flaps. But you can use this option though if you want. It is up to you. The next set of settings that we are going to bind are going to be viewing settings. Okay? These settings are going to help you with looking around your aircraft. Okay? The first one you need to bind, well, the first two that you need to bind are going to be view in battle air axis and view in battle Y axis. What these do is that these let you turn your head like left and right, and it also lets you look up and down. You will need these because as of right now, you probably have the ability to look around your aircraft, but the way that you're doing it is likely disabling your control of your aircraft while you're looking around. You don't want that to happen. You want to be able to maintain control of the aircraft while you are looking around. This will help you do that. With these two settings, you'll want to have the reset axis value set to the same button for both of them. You'll also want to turn on relative control and drop the control sensitivity to around 40%. Play with this as you get a feel for it. This will be different per person. The next view setting that you want to go ahead and bind is going to be the zoom axis. Now, to specify, I'm talking specifically about the zoom axis under the aircraft setting. You may already have the option bound to let you zoom in under common. This isn't an axis. This is just simply a zoom button. You will want to unbind this and bind the zoom axis. The reason for that is because the zoom axis gives you significantly more control over how much you zoom, and it also allows you to zoom out, so that way you can keep an eye on the gauges in your plane. For the zoom axis, you want to set the reset axis value to the same button that you have set for the view in air x-axis and y-axis. Ignore what I have here on my screen. I have a HOTAS, so that's why mine is different from those. But you yourself want to set the reset axis value to the same button as the other ones that you've set. You'll also want to turn on relative control and keep the control sensitivity to 100%. The last set of view controls that you want to bind is going to be head movement, upward and downward, and head movement left and right. Now, it's not clear what these do. It doesn't really tell you. But what these are supposed to do is that these shift your head left and right and up and down. It doesn't turn your head. So, for example, if you are looking behind yourself while in a dogfight and your chair is in the way, you use the head movement left and right and up and down to move the chair out of the way, so that way you can properly see behind yourself. I'll get more into that, and you'll be able to see what that does at this timestamp. Now, with these, you still want to set the reset axis value to the same button as the other view options. You'll want to turn on relative control, and you'll want to set the relative control sensitivity around 50%. Now that we got those required keybinds out of the way, let's go ahead and start messing with mouse joystick itself. Now, in order to set up the mouse joystick, you need to go to Controls, Aircraft, Control Mode, and then set it to mouse joystick. I already have mine set. Once you turn this on, a new category will appear on the left side of the screen under navigation called mouse joystick. Go ahead and click it to go to the correct section. In the mouse joystick section, ensure that you bind the option called Center Mouse Joystick. This will automatically center the stick for you when you press it. As you can see, there are multiple settings that you can change. The one setting I recommend turning down all the way to 0% is the rudder setting. The reason for this is because you don't want it messing with your yaw axis that you set earlier. What I'm going to do right quick, I'm going to go ahead and set these to exactly how yours looks, so that way you can see everything from what you would be doing. Now, I'm going to go into test flight at this point and show you the differences between the two mouse joystick modes and the effect that the different settings that here will do. Firstly, I am showing you what Simplified mouse joystick does. This is not recommended whatsoever and is quite bad to use. Skip to the timestamp here in order to go to the mode you actually want to use. I'll also explain what head movement does in that section as well. Simplified mouse joystick makes it easy for you to take off and to fly your aircraft. When you move your mouse up, the plane goes up. When you move your mouse down, the plane goes down. Pay attention to the control surfaces as I move my mouse around. When in the air, Simplified mouse joystick does not let you completely roll the aircraft. Let me take off and show you what it does. as you can see, the plane goes up when I move the mouse up. The plane will go down when I move the mouse down. In simplified mode, mouse joystick does not let me completely invert the aircraft. As you can see, I move my mouse to the left. It doesn't let me completely invert it. I cannot go upside down. When I rotate it to the right, same thing. I cannot go upside down. You may have also noticed that the aircraft returns to the center when I move my mouse to the center. This is nice and very easy to get up into the air, but getting into fights, it will put you at a major disadvantage. Do not use this mode. This was simply to show you what this is and what it does. I've restarted the test flight so I can take off again and show you from the beginning the differences between simplified and standard. I'll go ahead and set my mouse joystick to standard, and I want you to pay attention to the elevators of the aircraft. As you can see, the mouse goes down, the elevators go up. When the mouse goes up, the elevators go down. This is exactly how a flight stick works. Pull the flight stick or the mouse towards you, the plane goes up. Push the flight stick or the mouse away from you, the plane goes down. This is one of the biggest hurdles of anyone trying to use mouse joystick for the first time. It is the mindset shift going from you are using a mouse to you are using a flight stick. Once you get this mindset down, it'll become easy, almost instantly. I'm going to take off in this P-51 now to show you how the plane behaves when flying. By the way, that's why you don't want to have the button for your engines on the same, like, near where your flight controls are. Because you can accidentally turn them off, and you start falling out of the sky. Now, as you can see, I move the mouse down, plane goes up. I move the mouse up, plane goes down. Now watch what happens when I roll the aircraft. I should be able to invert it. can see, I'm upside down. I am completely inverted. You cannot do this with simplified mouse joystick. And also understand, when you bring your mouse back to the center, the plane does not go back to center. See? The plane is not centered. Now, with all that said, this also means you cannot turn like you can with Simplified. In order to turn, you have to roll your aircraft and then pull up, like this. And in order to return it to center, you have to roll the aircraft in the other direction. You also can simply bank your aircraft to turn. What this means is that you just roll the aircraft slightly and then pull up slightly, but just enough to where you're not actually gaining or losing any altitude, like so. Now trust me, I've made this look easy. It is not anywhere near as easy as I've shown. You will need to practice this. And don't be upset when you crash multiple times. Trust me, I've crashed a lot while learning how to use my HOTAS. Now, before we move on to other callouts, I want to go ahead and go over what I talked about before regarding the head movement and the view controls. The head movement moves the chair out of the way so I can see behind myself. I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera completely behind. I'm going to go ahead and turn it around. As you can see, the chair is in the way. Now, if I'm in a dogfight, this is effectively death. What I want to do is I want to use the head movement left in order to move the chair out of my way, like so. Now I can see behind myself and be able to defend myself better. And as you can tell, I have complete control of my aircraft still, even though I'm just looking behind myself. Now just hit the button to go back to center. And now I'm looking forward again. Having the view control set like this allows you to keep your eye on a target that you're trying to get. So let's just keep an eye on this city right here. Still have complete control. Now, as you can see, the city is below me, and it's kind of hard to keep an eye on it. I just move my head out of the way, and then look down. Ta-da! I have more view of the city. Now, there is one call out I want to make in regards to the mouse joystick. In the mouse joystick section, after doing some testing, I've found that I've found that controlling the aircraft becomes much easier if you drop the dead zone to around 20%, and then you drop the sensitivity to around 15. You may go lower or higher depending on yourself as an individual. Having it around these settings, makes the aircraft a lot less jumpy. Makes it easier to control. Makes it easier to fly. Now, that is all I needed to go over for this video. I do appreciate you taking the time to look everything over. Please leave a like, maybe a subscription, it's up to you. And like I said before, if I get 20 likes, I will make another one where I'm going over how to take off on land. And if I get 50 likes, I'll go over how to bomb in Sim. Good luck in the sky, my fellow War Thunder players.